Wasn't expecting that our team could come so far, and winning the finals and beating the all the nine of the team were great on the papers.
Hello, good evening. We welcome you for the last episode of IPL's special segment of Straight Bat with Mr. Cricket UAE and Gulf News. With me, I've got a full panel of the fans, who are going to look into how the season panned out for them. Of course, the happiest person of them will be, Gujarat's. I think we've got the fan from Gujarat, Akash, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, hi. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Now, before we come to you, we have got Mr. Anis Sajan, Mr. Cricket himself. He is just managed to come out of the Narendra Modi Stadium and is on his way back to the hotel. The Gulf News sports editor, aka Satish. So we have got quite a big panel here. Anis bhai, I will come to you first up. How was it? 100,000 people, the home team winning, and this is only the second time after Chennai doing it years back. This is Gujarat Titans, and what makes it special, of course, is their debut season. What are your feelings? What are you seeing there?
I think Anis bhai is, I think we lost him, I think, Gautam.
Yeah, we have dropped him.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to him. Okay, then I'll come to Akash to be very fair. Akash, when after the auction, as things panned out, when people were thinking that, this is a side which is strong in bowling, batting, the recruitment was not up to speed. So did you think that you will come this far? What is your basic reaction today?
Yeah, honestly speaking, I wasn't expecting that our team could come so far, and winning the finals and beating the all the nine of the team were great on the papers. Gujarat Titan alone, if you see on paper, were not that good. A bowling attack was definitely very strong, but on paper we weren't the strongest team of all. But somehow the team managed and we have won the cup, and it was an all-rounder performance. Each and every player was given their role, and that role was definitely through by them. Like the bowling was very strong. Shami, Ferguson, Rashid Khan, all of them were continuously the wicket takers and with good economic rate. And Hardik Pandya leading the team with a very good efforts. No one expected Pandya could lead the team in such a way, but he did it. And although our batting was weak, but still there was someone or the other who always stood till the end. Be it Saha, be it Gill, or be it Miller. Miller was a very surprise.
I think Akash, they kind of redefined the concept of what a batting lineup of a successful T20 team can be.
Yeah.
Anis bhai, can you hear me? I think still there is a problem with the link. I'll come to Satish. Satish, it turned out to be almost prophetic. You said history is beckoning Hardik Pandya, so it has. And if at the beginning of the league somebody, even when they started off on a good note, about 3 wins or 4 wins, I think we were discussing this question that whether he could be seriously taken as a captaincy contender. But I am failing to recall that, when was this kind of a complete performance that came from a captain? I mean, because the advantage is, of course, he is the all-rounder. And the thinking cricketer that he turned out to be, the way he utilized his resources. A word from you about Hardik before we move on to the other fans.
Gautam, the first couple of games, certainly they had the momentum. But what I saw was there was a method in the madness. And for everything, Hardik was really there putting things in place. He was putting the jigsaw puzzle one by one and getting it done. And I could see that he was doing it with a purpose. And I'm sure with somebody like Gary Kirsten in his think tank. Obviously, like there must have been a lot of thought process going in. And I felt he had a lot of shades of what Dhoni did. And he was also like Dhoni, one of the captains who wanted to step in and perform. So many things worked in his favor, and they also had the momentum. Along with the momentum, there was a team effort, and I think everything came together, and it gelled well, like exactly the way a winning team, a champion team should be. And due credit to Hardik Pandya for taking it forward and playing it up front, leading it from the front and taking it all the way until the final, where today he again proved that he is not ready to sit on his laurels, and he was willing to take on the opponents even in the final by coming in the middle overs and choking Rajasthan Royals. Brilliant. I think it was all over. I would say the team effort was, and Hardik Pandya's performance was like icing on the cake of Gujarat Titans this year.
Right. I'll come to Ram Ganesh. Ram, if you can see me, I was trying to honor Shane Warne's memory today by wearing a Rajasthan Royals jersey myself. But yes, it was not their day. What do you think? I mean, obviously, when you score 130 on a wicket, when you are not being able to, every day need not be a Sunday. But Rajasthan Royals batting, what they did was they couldn't play that waiting game. They couldn't take their score to something like what could be called somewhat near a pass score. So where do you think they failed? I mean, they lost the match there the moment they were all out for 130.
Right. The game was lost in the first half itself. And I think, I don't know. It's disappointing to say that. I guess in hindsight, we should not have batted first. We won the toss for the second time. The pressure is always going to be on the team batting first to put up a score. You don't know what score to put up. And in the second qualifiers, we saw that the pitch got a little better to bat on in the second half, and that's what we did. We managed to get through. I guess what I would say is, in terms of where we lost it was that in terms of batting, we cannot keep relying on Butler. Samson threw his wicket again for the 100th time, I think. As Anis Bhai had said, Sanju Samson had to put his hands up at the final and say, I'm here as a batsman to do something for you, and I'm not just going to be scoring this 20s and 30s. He's too good for his 20s and 30s. So very disappointing there. Every other batsman struggled. Hetmeyer, after his comeback, was not the same batsman, and I don't know. I hope we stop backing Rayan Parag now. I think it's high time. We've seen for an entire season the batting just collapsed, and I think in the bowling, of course, it hurt that we had a drop catch in the first over. But I have to say one thing. I cannot understand Sanju Samson's captaincy, leaving Ashwin till the 12th over. He's bowling the 16th and the 18th over. I just don't get the experiment that we have done this entire season. Some of them has worked, but it just goes to show that, you cannot experiment like this. In contrast, Hardik had his plans from the start. I think what happened today was we were outplayed by a genuinely better team. I actually have been in the previous, during this league stages, I was guilty of actually thinking that Gujarat have been lucky, but they just peaked. From there. I think kudos, the better team, I guess, won today.
Right.
I think, Gautam, I'll have to add a couple of things. Sorry, I'll have to add a couple of things to what Ram has said. One thing is, as much as they relied too much on Butler, if you look at the averages or the scores or even the top performers, 4, 5, 6, Pandya, Gill, and Miller. These are the top 3 performers. So they were playing as a team that was as a unit they were playing. Whereas here, Butler was number 1, Samson was number 9 with 28 as an average, and Padikkal is about 20th with 26 as an average. It can't rely on these one player to come, and we have seen it time and again. Chris Gayle or Virat Kohli, it can take you up to the final, but it cannot give you the victory. It's very difficult. And secondly, I think that's one of the reasons. Maybe I don't like the way Sanju captained so far, but at least in the final, one difference could be in favor of him is Ashwin has been leaking runs. So they wanted to put pressure on Gujarat as much as they could go far. So that's when they had to push Ashwin to the end, and as we expected, the moment Ashwin came in, he leaked 15 runs in the first over and another 12, 13 runs in the second. So the match pitted away and it became easier for Gujarat at that point of time. So, yes, these are the 2 points which I wanted to add. Yeah.
Right. In fact, I'll take this opportunity to again ask Ram before we move on to the other fans that, Ram, this Rajasthan Royals, I mean, let us put aside the Shane Warne effect, etc., etc. But Rajasthan Royals had waited for 14 seasons to make another final. And the best takeaway from this campaign is, they're once again looking like a team who are a genuine contender to make that last four again next season and possibly give another shot at winning it. So how do you look at that, and what are the kind of changes? Do you think there could be a change at the top?
Yeah, I think the batting definitely has been.
No, I'm talking about captaincy here. I'm talking about captaincy here.
I don't think that's going to change. Although, yes, I would say that. I mean, I would actually have even Butler could make a better captain or somebody else. But the way the partnership between Sangha and Samson goes, they're not going to change that. So that's going to keep staying the same. Maybe there'll be some personal changes. Yeah, I mean, I had actually joked about it earlier that until today, Rajasthan had a 100% record of winning the finals. So now that unfortunately has changed,
that's become 50%.
I will just hold you on there, Ram. I think I can see Anish bhai.
Yes. Sorry, guys. There was a lot of congestion, so I got stuck. So, Gautam, let me first answer your question about watching a match with 100,000, probably more than 100,000 people at stadium. It was a one-off experience. I had seen the finals in Australia, but obviously India was not playing, so I did not have that sort of emotions running high. But this match, when you from ball one, you could feel that emotions running high between all the fans, and obviously 90,000 plus people were supporting one team, Gujarat. And like you call MS Dhoni the Thala of Chennai. I want to say one line for Hardik Pandya, Mota Bhai means the big brother, and the big brother, the captain, led from the front first with the ball. It was a fiery spell. You can't take it away. The way he got the wickets of Sanju, he got the wicket of the dangerous Butler and then Hetmeyer, and ran with the bat when in a precarious position, being 20 for 2, losing Saha and Wade, come back and bat and play that innings, took the game away from Rajasthan. And it was all about Hardik Pandya leading from the front. So I want to say he came, he saw, and he conquered.
Right. In fact, this is not the first game, Anish bhai, that he has done that. We saw in the qualifier in Calcutta, how he has adopted this new approach of playing risk-free cricket, and then he knows the perfect situation when to open up. So this cricket sense that we are seeing in him, apart from being the captaincy, I mean, both when he is bowling, today's bowling was a fantastic example of that. So now, would you seriously consider him to be a contender for the white ball captaincy for India? I mean, maybe it's not now,
Gautam, you asked this question. I'm very glad that, Gautam, you asked this question. It's not about his individual performance. I wanted to hit the nail, and you've hit the nail, that, his captainship throughout the tournament, he was the shrewdest captain, not just because he batted and bowled well in some innings or fielded well, but his bowling changes. Like, let's take today's example. First important change, he brought in Ferguson, who's got a much better temperament and solid match experience compared to the West Indian bowler whom they dropped. Second thing, when the chips were down, I would not say the chips were at 50 for 1. He brought himself in. He got that couple of wickets, that crucial wicket. And then, the bowling change to bring that the left armer. He held on to the left armer till Hetmeyer and the left-handers were there. That's Sai Kishore. And he picked up 2 crucial wickets. Every bowler he went to it touched gold. Like whatever Hardik was doing. And not from this tournament, not this match. Throughout the tournament, if you watch, that the sharpness which is developed being as a player for Mumbai Indians could be seen delivering this tournament. And when you ask me this question, yes, I would dare say, not just because India has won. I know sometimes people think IPL is not a platform, but this guy has got the talent and most importantly, the temperament. And in today's situation, India, I wish, can make that bold decision of making him as the captain as they did in MS Dhoni for 2007.
Absolutely. Because if you remember, Rohit's development as a captain. I mean, we came to know him as a captain when he delivered first with the IPL, and he grew the other way around. And Hardik is a cricketer whose genesis has come from IPL. So there is no reason why he can't be considered as one. On that note, I will quickly move to the RCB fan in our middle. That is Sanjay. Sanjay,
तुम्हारे चेहरे में 12 क्यों बजा हुआ है?
Are you there?
Yes. I'm there.
Yeah. I think Sanjay. I think the scar is still raw, but yes, it does hurt. When when it turns into a 15-year wait, when you've got arguably one of the world's best batsmen batting there, his 973 runs could not be overhauled. But yes, at the end of the day, once again a case of so near yet so far. I mean, playing by and large consistent cricket, but in that qualifier when it mattered the most, they were just blown away by this man called Josh Butler. So quickly, your reaction and what are you expecting for the next season, Sanjay?
Yes, actually on the first note, on the first part, 157 was not at all a good score to put on England because yes, Butler was fresh 87 or 85 not out because in the qualifier one Butler even though he started slow, he took on to score. So even in the league stage, when you see Butler has the rate of conversion, one match he scores 80 and the next match is coming back with 100. The same thing happened here, and yes, losing the toss was a disadvantage because we were put to bat first, and yes, Kohli taking on the first over 6. I expected like something might be different from the from Virat. So again, that outside of ball delivered by Prasid gets Kohli out. Then Faf getting out in such a way, giving catch to Ashwin. Yes, batting we were not to the par. Maxwell not scoring.
No,
and
what I want to ask you or pick your brains about is, you see, I mean, you've got a combination which worked. I mean, you got a team where despite Virat being largely can be termed as a failure in this tournament, but still you went up all the way because you were getting those contributions. Virat, and not only that, Faf, who was such a key factor for CSK triumphs even last year, he couldn't deliver. But the team had gone up all the way because of Patidar, because of Lomror, because of DK finished with the best strike rate. So what else, the RCB management must be tearing their hair that what more do we need to do? So as a fan, what do you feel? I mean, what can be the way out of this?
It's like just openly I'm telling, retaining Siraj was one of the bad decisions where RCB took this year because yes, leaving Chahal and retaining Siraj, and so this is how he delivers.
Spot on.
2 overs on 31. Just being a fan, I'm truly telling it out even in the live show. Retaining Siraj was a bad decision because just he performs 2 seasons ahead of Chahal is a very bad decision.
Right.
You can see Chahal how he's performing for Rajasthan. He has been a standout spinner for the Rajasthan in the years to come. For the 15 years, no other spinner than Shane Warne has performed so well for them.
Very good investment.
He went on to win the purple cap.
They will, he's going back to the purple cap. Yes. I will quickly move on to the other fans and get their lowdown as to how they sum some of the performance. Sanket, are you there? Sanket Jain?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Hi, Sanket. Welcome, Sanket. DC, it's been a bit of an up and down performance after, a very good 3 seasons where they kind of turned around the fortunes. They began looking like a potential, title threat. This year, there were a number of factors. I mean, of course, the campaign was hampered by that phase where, COVID hit home. Then, Rishabh Pant's form was, he didn't bat like last year. Then Anrik Nokia, I mean, though he was retained, he came back. You didn't get the same kind of services from Nokia in the absence of Kagiso Rabada. So what do you think? I mean, how do you sum up? I think overall, they managed to salvage the situation a lot. I mean, they were just pipped at the post. What do you think, Sanket? I mean, what should be the way forward?
So, some people might expect that, I might say that, this change should be made or that change should be made. But I mean, when you look at Delhi Capitals, you need to look at the past 4 years, because basically since the first year of their change to Delhi Capitals, Delhi has been qualifying each of the seasons, This is the first time that Delhi Capitals, since they've changed, has not qualified. And that too, we all know it was a very bare margin. Like they still finished at fifth. It's not like they finished in the bottom three or something like that. They still finished in five, and it was just a matter of one match. I, as a Delhi fan, feel really confident, to say that I still feel that Delhi is one of the best teams, because the players that you look that they have, the foreign players. I mean, David Warner, he came back again, and he just showed everyone, why he's one of the best batsmen in IPL, like all time, because he's had 3 orange caps this season. Also, he's played really well, taken over, a very good responsibility for Delhi, leading from the front. Then you have Mitchell Marsh, who really fired up at the end of the season, showed some promising knocks. Then Roman Powell, you could see glimpses of him, an innings or two over there, his bare strength that he, possesses. Yeah, Nokia definitely, an issue with him, but it's not really, that you can blame him, because he's been coming from an injury, it's like he's been away from cricket, from 5 to 6 months. And we all know the level and, the level of IPL as a tournament, So it does take time for fast bowlers, especially for someone like Nokia, who's used to bowling regular 150k plus balls, So it does take time for someone like him to get back into the groove and perform. Because before he came back into the camp, we could see that Mustafizur Rahman, who was playing instead of him in the team, performed really well. So, I mean, he also had a lot of pressure, to come back in the team and perform. So maybe, he could not do as well. But I still feel that, Delhi is one team that I feel that does not need any changing moving on to the next, season. And I feel they should keep as many things as, the same as possible. I mean, if they stick to their same 11, I feel they have, a very high chance of, qualifying or even, winning the next tournament, because the team seems really stable and really promising. This year's, we could see Kuldeep Yadav dropped by KKR. They did not opt for him, but he finished with 21 wickets, which is really good. You could see a new Kuldeep Yadav over there. And if you look at, there's definitely something to worry about in Rishabh Pant's form, but he's a young player, and we all know the talent that he also possesses. And sooner or later, it's going to come out from him. Maybe this was an under par season from him, but I can, I back him that he'll come next season and do what we all know him for.
Right. Anis bhai, I'll just come quickly to you. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Yeah. Anis bhai, Delhi was, post-auction when we were doing these chats, from the strength on paper, you had pinned a lot of hopes on Delhi.
Yeah.
And overall, finally, they didn't do badly. They just missed out by that, by that whisker. How do some of their performance, and as as he said that, they don't need to tinker with it. Just see how it goes, and, finishing 5th out of 10 teams after all. How do you think Delhi's performance or future panning out next year?
Yes, Gautam,
they don't need to tinker.
You're absolutely right. And I agree with the fan who has mentioned that you don't need to do more chop and change. A little bit of maturity, which Rishabh Pant can take on his shoulders. Yes, and as he said that he's a bit young, the experience, if he can gather, that will help, because they have the stars, especially the foreign players like the Warners, the Mitchell Marsh, the Rombal Powells, the Mustafizur Rahman. They have that bunch of players. And Indian fast bowler, we're talking about the left arm seamer. Who's that I'm talking about?
Khalil
Ahmed. He bowled with a lot of fire. To be very honest, a little disappointed with Shardul Thakur. He was good with the ball, but I'm afraid did not contribute with the bat. But I'm sure with this experience, he will learn. They have a smart captain in Ricky Ponting. So without doing much of change, just a little bit of maturity, which if he can learn from MS Dhoni, that how to keep his calm and composure, where he lost his head in one of the matches where it was a no ball. All these things, if he can take care, it will, I'm sure, pay dividends to Delhi.
Right. I think I'll come to Anmol of Punjab Kings, who have been patiently waiting. My apologies to the other fans. In fact, there is so much to talk about today. Anmol, finally, you finished 6th position on the table. Once again, a bit of a blow cold campaign, but there are, once again, if you look at the positives, Liam Livingstone, I mean, definitely what an investment he had been for you. But then again, there are certain question marks about Mayank Agarwal's captaincy. Then, in some matches, you got the plot mixed up. How do you, sum up your campaign, and what do you want from the team in 2023?
Sir, we are coming sixth from last 4 seasons, from 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22. From 5 seasons, we are sixth. It's height of consistency for us. And another thing, you point out right that there are some of the positives. It would be Liam Livingstone. That was a big positive. Not only above 10 crore players we took, they will not perform. Yes, some of them will perform for us too. If you say that Arshdeep was also a very great investment. If we say, some of them were saying that he's not a 4 crore worth player, but he has put the full stop on all of them. Some of the critics, or some of them that
he was your best performance. He was your best bowler under pressure situation. Yes.
He was. If you have seen Mayank Agarwal giving in an interview, he was saying that, Paji, give me the ball, I will bowl the difficult over. He has stood up every time when team needs him. And some of the phases we left out, after that last match against SRH, which Liam finished, I think that 4 overs to spare, and I actually forgotten that match, like 4 overs to spare, and only thing it came to my mind that if Odean Smith could haven't thrown that 1 run, we could have GT and we could have qualified. But some of the phrases we need to conquer next time, coming in the coming year. Coming in the auction, I would say that in the next year, there are two parts of my heart. One is saying that go as a flow, what Kumble or what the management does, and another part of my heart says that go in the auction, just drop Shah Rukh and Odean and pick Ben Stokes and just leave the auction. And nothing change is required.
Well said.
Well said. Yes, I'll come to. I can see Maz there. Hi, Maz. Yes, our man who had been supporting KKR. A disappointing season, a very disappointing season after raising the hopes as a runner-up last year. There had been no pattern in their campaign. I mean, they've. So what do you think? I mean, there had been a lot of talk about who decides on the playing 11. The captain. It was a lot was expected out of Shire, who did so well under somewhat congenial circumstances in Delhi with his Delhi team. He couldn't reproduce that. Whether there was a question of functioning with full autonomy, his form was also a little up and down. So what do you expect from the team? I mean, do you think they should still persist with their faith on Andre Russell and Sunil Narine, or they do some complete overhaul? What do you think, Mats?
When a season of IPL becomes a 10-team season, the margin of error becomes very small. And that's when you need consistency. And that's one thing that's been missing, as you said, in the pattern of KKR's performance. Consistency was what was missing. We won 3-4 matches up front, and then we started losing matches, and then we again win 3-4 matches, lose a match, then win a match. So that consistency was not there at all. So I think that's one point that was not acceptable in a 10-team season where the margin of error is very small. But a disappointing season. But yes, we do go with few positives as well. And a new captain, Shreyas Iyer, yes, he has not been the best and not given what we were expected from him. But even when he was the captain for Delhi Capitals for the first season, it was not so great. So maybe this was just a trial ball season for him. And next season he comes with a better performance with the bat, and captaincy has been very, very good. And then another positive was Umesh Yadav coming back into the form and giving us those power play wickets that we were missing in the previous season. And I think I will meet Anmol and Punjab Kings in the auction for Ben Stokes, and we can get a substitute for Andre Russell and not just depend on him. And a few more players in opening position and maybe a substitute spinner in place of Varun Chakravarti would give us the balance that we were lacking this season, and we can be the contender for playoffs again for next season.
Maz, you were saying that you will buy Ben Stokes for under Russell substitution. I think you would get a star player for only a substitution. You would not get him in the playing 11.
I mean, we are not substitution as in not just depending on Andrew Russell and having another player in the squad or in the playing 11 who we can depend on if Andrew Russell fails. Or if Ben Stokes fails, Andrew Russell perform. Andrew Russell fails, Ben Stokes perform. So
I don't think
substitution
that
in
that type
terms.
of international player is a second choice for any of the team.
Well, I would, if you had a choice between Andrew Russell and Ben Stokes, I would still go with Andrew Russell in IPL. I'm not talking about international cricket, but if you see IPL, Andrew Russell has been the man.
Yes, but one thing we'll have to keep in mind. I mean, you shouldn't end up making the same mistake which Royals did in the previous years. I mean, just if you look on those 4 big names overseas,
Yes.
and then you don't get an opportunity to get your combination right. So that could be an issue, but we'll come to that. I see Varun is waiting. I haven't met Varun before. Varun's full name is Varun.
There you go.
Yeah, Williamson. Hi, Varun. Welcome. Yes, Varun, you're the Sunrisers Hyderabad man among us. Sunrisers, they raised that glimmer of hope after a poor start, and definitely, if you, despite not being able to, qualify and finishing on the 8th position, there had been the biggest positive had been everybody. Umran Malik got everyone talking. Then there have been a couple of matches where there have been really strong turnarounds. 5 matches you won at one stage on the trot. Rahul Tripaঠি's performance. Then Nicholas Puran seemed like he's finally ready to take some responsibility. But overall, it was an insipid campaign. From Kane Williamson, we expected a lot more. So if you can just tell us that, what does SRH need to do? I mean, after all, in their short term, they had been one of the consistent teams till, say, about 2 years back, and they have got a title in their pocket. What do they need to do?
It's been an up and down season for us. First we won 5 and then we lost 5. It wasn't a great consistent season, but okay. There are a lot of players in our squad who are very young. Our average age is around 27. So it's the youngest squad in the IPL, that too. And many of these players have not even played their 14-match quota. Like Aiden Markram, Nicholas Puran, Malik, right, Abhishek Sharma, Priyam Garg, he played some. These players, they never play their 14-game quota. And SRH has given them the chance to prove their skill set and, to get the full, show of what the IPL is going to be. So maybe after this experience for these guys who just got in their full quota of experience, maybe by next year they would know what the IPL is like, and they can prepare according to that and play according to the situations as well. But when we won those first 5 games, the pitches were really helpful to us. Like, it was helping pace a lot. We had Marco Jansen, who was taking wickets consistently, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who was economical, and then Umran Malik, who was also taking wickets consistently. So it really helped us. Even if Washington Sundar was injured, right, we really did not feel his absence in the first 7 games. Even if you saw the $68, we really did not even feel his absence. After that game, we gained a lot of confidence, but then the pitches have changed a lot. Now it's more spin reliant, and that's where our department was completely messed up. Now we have seen the absence of Washington Sundar come in. Jagadish Suchit, he did some justice, but again, we need the second spin option. We tried
Varun, Abhishek was not used, isn't it?
Yeah,
the entire year.
That's what I was about to come to. Abhishek Sharma, he could have bowled. He bowls well for Punjab as well. He's a pure all-rounder. It was just minimal errors, small errors, which costed us those 5 other games as well. Yeah.
If I recall, Abhishek has been used in the past in power play as well. I mean, this time I was quite surprised not to see him at all. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, even if not in the power play, like we have Washington Sundar, at least you can bowl like an over or 2 of him in the middle overs as well. Because you're using Aiden Markram, who's going at 10 runs per over, right? You have Abhishek Sharma on the other end, but Kane Williamson unfortunately did not give him the chance. But with the bat, he's our highest run scorer. Never expected that. People said he was a bit overpriced, but he really turned the page, turned the blogs for us, and he scored around 450 runs for us this season. It's been fantastic for him. And then going to Umran Malik, he just won the Emerging Award as well. Just saw that, and it's great to see these young fast bowlers, especially Umran Malik, clocking those 150s, 150 kilometers. He bowled more than 30 this season as well. So fiery pace is good, but if he gets the line and length right as well every game, he's going to be a man to watch it for in the upcoming seasons as well. But again, as I said, it's just a recovery season to get the full 14-game quota for these players to learn, to experience, and come better next season. But what we need is, as I said, we're missing the spinner in the spin department. So, many people are now saying like Ben Stokes, Sam Curran, but personally, I want Shakib Al Hasan just for the spin option, right? I mean, he can also give you the batting option. People talk about his attitude and all, but let's forget that. A trophy is more important than the Fair Play Award here.
No,
So,
people talk about his attitude when he goes to play for Bangladesh. IPL, he has played for SRH as well. I mean, like KKR, he's played for SRH.
Yeah, and he's done decently in fielding with the bat and with the ball. So he wouldn't be a bad investment. I don't want to see like Romare Shepherd anymore in the team. No offense to him, but I think he's just a bit too overpriced. These West Indian guys, they went a lot expensive, like Cody Smith and Romare Shepherd, two big examples. They might have not played all the games, and the only reason is they have not been going consistent with the bat or the ball. So they have been a bit overrated. So a 7.75 crores maybe in the bank. And then a Sean Abbott. Haven't really used him. I think only one game. And why do we really need him? A net bowler, you can get a net bowler for 20 lakhs. No issues for that. So maybe Romare Shepherd and Sean Abbott out of the squad. And as I said, someone like Shakib Al Hasan can help us.
If you want a spinner, Riyan Parag also can bowl spin.
No, I'm sorry. We are not that lucky. Okay. We don't have the luck. We had Vijay Shankar, we had Kedar Jadhav. Okay, we had Vijay Shankar, Kedar Jadhav, our luck has run out there only. That's why we didn't.
I love this banter, guys.
Why do we need Riyan Parag again?
Yes, true.
Okay,
true.
Gautam, you'll have to give me a couple of minutes. You know what? I will sign off. This banter is going on superb. So before I sign off, I want to thank all of you guys, all the lovely fans. You have been very, very good, very passionate about your teams. And we hope we can catch up with you. An year will pass soon. Or we will have you guys in the World Cup or everything.
Less than a year.
Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Gautam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anish. I'm running out of battery and gas.
And Anish bhai, before you sign off, you just need to, give a little recap about the wonderful competition that and how, system regularly. How did our, the audience do in terms of prediction?
Oh, yes. Gautam, this IPL, which was a 10-team IPL, was one of the most unpredictable IPL. We couldn't judge a winner except for one team, Gujarat Titans, who were bossing probably the tournament. So it was very difficult, and we had a tournament, prediction where you had to predict the winner, and you could win with an attire of Mr. A t-shirt, and a cap, as well as a 1 year's digital subscription. So we thank you all the fans who came on our page and actually predicted the winner. It was difficult, but that's the beauty about Gulf News. You come to our page and win prizes. So thank you guys. I'll sign off. And once again, the commiseration to Ram Ganesh. I'm sure RR has done well, much more to the expectation. They could have done better, but you have to give it to Gujarat. They were the better team. They bossed and they deserve to win. See you guys.
Thanks, Anibas. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Right. Thank you so much. Before, I will quickly come to the youngest among the fans. If Arjun is still awake, Arjun, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Hello.
Yeah, he's there.
Hi, Arjun. Hi, Arjun. We all are excited, and from tomorrow we are going to have, you know what is a withdrawal symptom? When something ends, you feel a sense of emptiness, something like that. So Arjun, I want to see, we have spoken about, Chennai Super Kings not being the same team this season, issues with the captaincy, etc., etc. Finally, just a few words from you that, how the team, I'm sure with this kind of a history behind them, They will turn a new leaf and come out with a new approach. What do you want to see in the team? Do you still want to see? Of course, MS Dhoni will be playing, so he's possibly going to be the captain. Who else but him? What kind of changes do you want to see, Arjun, very quickly, if we can have you on that?
The captaincy issue has been resolved. It's going to be Dhoni next season. That's great.
Yes.
This season, our batting did not come up to the mark that I did expect. But I think it was just a seasonal issue. We will recover from that. To think about next season, I think our batting lineup would be much more suited to the conditions. And
also, see, Deepak Chahar is going to come back. Chahar is going to come back. He would have made a lot of difference on these weekends.
The only problem is with our bowling. Of course, Chahar is going to come back. I think we need to groom one of our rookie fast bowlers. Like I'm thinking Simarjeet Singh into becoming a good bowler for CSK. And I'm thinking we need another pacer, one good international talent, maybe that will come up next season. I don't know. But someone on the international level that can help us, that can be a good pace bowler for ourselves. Maybe a all-rounder pacer from West Indies.
I had a question. Do you think Ravindra Jadeja is going to continue with CSK?
Yes,
it's a big question.
Yes, I mean, see this.
It's $1 million question.
Let us put the ball on. Let us put the ball on Satish's court because we may need another session on this itself. Satish, can we have your take on that? I mean, it looks, I'm following on the social media and all that. It looks end of the road for Jadeja. I mean, so he's.
Generally, Chennai is not the team that reacts so quickly, because if you look at the previous episode was with Raina, and after that, though they patched up, Raina didn't last too long, and today he's not even in any part of any of the franchisees. So I hope it is not the case with Jadeja, because he is a valuable member of the team, and hope whatever the issues are supposedly gets resolved, though we don't know much. There is no real communication. It's all about speculation and all that. So I hope Ravindra Jadeja comes back. But even otherwise, I think the team is well served with Santner there, and we have enough among the spinners. The team is actually, from the dad's army, Chennai is now turning into looking a younger team. Of course, with the ever young Dhoni leading the side. He keeps to be getting younger and younger by the year.
Right. Well, I'll come to Mr. Naresh Mansukani of Mumbai Indians. Naresh, sorry to keep you waiting. I mean, as I keep repeating, I mean, today there have been simply plenty of things to talk about. I think I'll come to you with a different, to have your take on something else. See, we have spoken about Mumbai. We have spoken about the bright spots in the batting whom we saw in the last few wins. It could be a different Mumbai next year with Archer coming in and Sky regaining his fitness. What I want to ask from you is, this bigger and better IPL, this kind of really lived up to its promise with the kind of intensity in competition. These two newcomers, the way they have delivered. How do you look back at it at these 2 months? Maybe a little too long, but how do you look back at it, Naresh?
Thanks, Gautam. First, I'm sorry I got late getting back from the stadium. I could witness this final. It was a good experience. Other thing, on your question, yes, it is good to see more teams, more talent coming out. And we got Hardik Pandya from the finishing school of Mumbai Indians in the end. One of the leaders. So that's something good that we have seen. I think most of them who led the teams have really done well, and they have taken a lot of learnings back. I think we had only 2 overseas captains, right, in this season. So 10 teams, yeah, new talent. Mumbai Indians, the struggle would be on getting their bowling in place. Batting looks good now, what we saw in the last few games. Um, Jeffra Archer, will he be fit enough? Or do we join the race for Ben Stokes? We don't know. And some of the good talent, which unfortunately did not get a game, is some other area to look at on how that can happen. We had some international Nabi and all not getting a game at all. So what happens? And I felt Fabian Allen was underutilized by Mumbai, so we cannot take a call on him at this point of time. And the biggest decision needs to be made by Pollard himself, along with the franchise, or what happens to the future. But I think 10 teams, so we don't know whether the number of games is going to increase to home and away, 18 games per team from next year. We'll have to wait for that. But definitely we have seen some real good talent, especially in the bowling side, especially the left armers. Mohsin Khan and Yash Dayal, he played today the final. So some good talent we have seen. And it can only get better from here. But it has to give results as a national team going ahead. So that is what we'll have to see, whether we are meeting that objective.
Right. Well, it's my mistake. I've got one of the top 4 finisher teams. Vineet had been waiting very patiently. The Lucknow Super Giants fan. Another team who was unfortunately we didn't speak on the same breath because we spoke so much about Gujarat, who kind of blew our minds. Lucknow Super Giants. The Hindi belt has got a team who made its presence felt. They went all the way up to the last 4, and finally, they couldn't make it. It's a different issue. But I'll come to you, Vineet. Surely you must be happy with the way things went. I mean, there had been talk about, okay, it's too overtly reliant on KL Rahul and Quinton de Kock, but a team in a 10-team scenario, if it's making the last 4, and you have got Gautam Gambhir's presence, whose cricketing acumen is so sharp. I mean, that's why I was pinning a lot of hopes on them when they came to Eden, because of his familiarity with the venue. So it didn't work. How do you sum it up, Vineet, and how do you see the team moving on from here?
Well, first things first, again, it was a new team, so there was a little bit of skepticism for a lot of people whether they could actually go on to the playoffs. And especially, many people also constantly saying that maybe KL Rahul wouldn't exactly be the best person to captain because of how he's captained Kings 11 Punjab, who's now Punjab Kings. So I think he's done a decent job overall to get them to the playoffs. But then again, at times he's been a little slow because of the fact that, the captaincy has added a little bit of pressure to him, to maybe not throw his wicket away, which we saw in the eliminator against RCB. And I'd say, but the team overall, if I tell you, it has been good on paper, but I can say maybe next auction they could actually think of maybe changing the middle order a bit, because the middle order has been shaky. As you said before, this season they've been overly reliant on KL Rahul and Quinton de Kock to provide that start. And although Deepak Hooda has surprised many of us, including myself, because in the past seasons, Deepak Hooda has just blown hot and cold. But this season, he's been the mainstay of that middle order. And but the others haven't exactly fired. Stoinis has done a bit of finishing occasionally here and there, but Krunal Pandya has failed. Like, he hasn't exactly shown that consistency with the bat that we want him to show. So I expect Lucknow to also maybe go into the auction for Ben Stokes if he's available, so that they can maybe strengthen the middle order.
But how many overseas all-rounders do you need? I mean, see, people can also bat against their grains. A finisher can bat like, can anchor the innings if need be. Hardik is a very good example.
Exactly, and that's the thing about Ben Stokes. That's why he's so much in demand for many teams. Like we had earlier seen Marsh discuss about it. KKR would probably want to go in the auction for that. And that's the reason, because Ben Stokes has such a high value. He's proven that in the international stage that he can anchor the innings, and he can also be a finisher. So I'd say we have a couple of foreign players who are warming the benches. So probably cut our ties with them and
Get
actually go
better
all out
value
for
for
Stokes.
money. Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly. He's better value for money. And I'd say maybe get another spinner so that it might take a bit of pressure off Ravi Bishnoi, because he's the only specialist spinner in the squad. Krishnappa Gautam, he hasn't played regularly in the squad. And Krunal Pandya, well, again, he just like with the bat, he's also shown inconsistencies with the ball as well. So I'd say, maybe maybe try for Ben Stokes and a specialist spinner, and I think we should actually go on to win the tournament. And maybe I'd say this might not happen though. I'd say Jason Holder could be a better captain than KL Rahul. I mean, making Jason Holder the captain might actually give KL Rahul a bit more freedom to play. Because when KL Rahul is not a captain,
yes,
but now he's the India captain.
Yeah, that's the thing. But when he's not captain, he plays.
No, I mean, actually, Vineet, I would have come to Satish before kind of wrapping up. I mean, there are still a lot of issues, but we have tried to handle as much as we can, looking ahead at the season also. So now, in about less than 10 days' time, we've got the home series starting in South Africa, where KL is the captain.
Yeah.
So this thing about KL. I mean, when he's batting first, you look at his average and look at his strike rate. When he's chasing, he looks like a different batsman with an average in his 20s. And he's actually facing quite a bit of flack for the way he went about his task in the eliminator. So I'll come to Satish. I mean, how can he, there is any number of technically accomplished batsmen who are doing their job even when they're chasing. So what goes wrong? I mean, does he become tight? I mean, what does he need to do? I mean, there is enough experience. He's been in international cricket since 2014. What does he need to do, Satish?
No, but I think the problem with KL Rahul, especially when he plays for the IPL franchise, is he knows he is a mainstay. And the moment he gets out, it puts a big disadvantage. It makes it a big disadvantage to his team. So that's where he was hamstrung when he was in Punjab. That's where he is struggling with Lucknow. But the same doesn't happen when he plays for India, because he knows that even if he gets out, there are enough dependable players down the order. Here, Lucknow, Stoinis was blowing hot and cold. When you move him up the order, when you give him enough number of balls, he's failing. But when you keep him later in the order, he scores those quick runs. So again, it was a difficult choice for him. Yes, Huda supporting him was good, but it was finally it was boiling down to AB or him. And I think one of them needed to stay till the end for them to see them winning. I think that's where the pressure comes in on him, and it's an self-inflicted pressure to some extent, because the team, if they had a good all-rounder or a good batter who could come and get those consistent runs like what Miller did for Gujarat, maybe he would have played much more freely than what he was.
Right. I think a big takeaway from all this conversation is like Ben Stokes, if he's registered in the mini auction next year, he's going to be a real hot property. That's the drift I get from talking from all the teams, including young Arjun, because he's a guy who can take multitasking in cricket to such a level that you're almost recruiting two guys, not just an all-rounder.
So are we looking at 20 crores for Ben Stokes next season?
If anybody has that money,
you've gone up to 17 crores for KL Rahul. Yeah, if you have gone up to 17 crores for KL Rahul, you never know where this is going to end. But yes, the cap and all, you'll have to see. This time, the purses were loosened and it was something like 90 crores. So that won't be the case. So let us see. I mean, a lot of interesting points in this discussion. Which was we needed to take this up at the end of the season. So I'd like to thank Satish for giving his time, and all the fans who had turned up.
The fans, especially fans and Anis Bhai, for regularly coming and keeping the conversation going and keeping the interest going. It's been a very long IPL, 2 months. Lovely. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes,
thanks a lot. We hope to see you next time around.
Fascinating.
And thank you.
We had been.
It was a wonderful experience to you guys, and see you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.